Welcome. The N-Word Podcast, brought to you by the South, brought to you by myself, Saint Chubbs.
Yes, him.
You could call me Kevin. Brought to us by Angela P. What's your handle on Instagram and
Miss
socials?
Peoples.
Miss Peoples. I don't know why I forgot that.
It's okay. Miss_Peoples on Instagram and Miss Peoples everywhere else. Yeah, you can call me Angela. I like when people call me AP.
Angela, AP, Ange on fire. Excited for today's show. A lot to discuss as the world is
on fire.
On fire. I mean, more so white supremacy and the United States. Particularly, especially. Yeah, we're here. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty on fire. Feeling pretty, I feel like, I think I maybe said this on a past episode or just in conversation with you, but like probably I spend about like 3 times a week, maybe 3-4 times a week, like having real like rage at like what is happening in the world, or rage or like despair. And then most of the other times I'm able to like move through and be a bit balanced. Today's one of those rage moments. I'm just like, I cannot believe. I mean, I can believe it because I understand white supremacy, and I like what's happening is literally white supremacy melting down, trying to flex its power in a very like desperate, violent, ridiculous way.
Yeah.
And it's just like, fuck, bro.
Nah.
What the fuck?
I definitely feel you. And when we think about white supremacy, we always got to remember that it's an ideology. It's a lens that is put over your eyes and brain. So when you said the constant flexing of power, it definitely reminded me of the circus and foolishness that is Jeff Bezos and the space launch.
Yeah.
Because when I think about it from, somebody who has a very white supremacist filled perspective and, does or does not know it, I'm like, oh, I think y'all thought that this was like man landing on the moon type of vibe,
which is a crazy assumption.
And it was truly a circus. It was truly it just was ridiculous. I was watching it. First of all, I didn't know that it was going to happen. I didn't know that there was going to be what's the Jeff Bezos space?
I don't actually
it's like
know the
Blue
name.
Ship or Blue Star or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Basically, what's equivalent to Elon Musk's SpaceX and his...
all the billionaires have their own space programs. I
guess it's a hot thing to have. It's like, oh, I'm a billionaire. The billionaire to space program pipeline, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess it's a thing to have. But anyways, I didn't know it was actually going to happen. And then I was like, well, who are these random women that... And I was like, Gayle King.
Yeah, there's this big push to like... we were actually listening to a debate about whether or not the U.S. should prioritize colonizing Mars. And in there, they were talking about this big push to like start to have private citizens or civilians start to like, you can pay basically to go to space on some vacation, like excursion type thing.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the market that Jeff Bezos is trying to move in. He's like come buy a seat on my rocket to space.
Why not just, and that's the thing that's frustrating me. It's like, all right, apparently making $1 billion isn't enough, and there must be more to attain. So now it's like, oh, well, let's do real estate in space, which is just ridiculous because it's like, what type of flexing of power and like what do you get out of that? And when I think about it all, it's really like, oh, okay, it's just another brain or another person drunk off white supremacy, because you reach this billionaire status and you would rather sell houses and trips to space versus figuring out ways to solve hunger. Figure out ways to create sustainable food programs that could feed people.
Figure out how to undestroy the earth.
Figure out how to literally undestroy the earth. And
the only problem is people like Jeff Bezos make their billions off of the processes that destroy the earth. Like, they don't get to be in their situation without extracting from the resources that we have. People resources, the energy, the air, the fuel, the land. Like, it's not even in their, I guess, I don't know, maybe it should be in their interest, because their whole profit is off of this earth. So why not actually try to allow it to continue to be? I guess they, at some point, they're like, yeah, I don't want to keep making profits here. I want to make profits somewhere else.
I feel like
here being the only planet that we know where humans can survive, but okay.
I feel like we really got to look at white supremacy as like just being like drunk, or like a level,
very intoxicated,
a level of intoxication that like you have to acknowledge that like
impaired thinking.
It's separate who you are from white supremacy, because there is a separation, but because you're drunk, it's just a union and it's just one thing. And like one thing I could appreciate in the whole space experience of it all, or the space, Jeff Bezos space experience,
billionaire to space situation,
is just the backlash from the internet and everybody, basically the backlash from regular humans, regular people, everyday working class people, everyday people who, can't afford a seat to space, who don't have any interest in space, who are very much devoted into figuring out like problems here on Earth. I'm really happy that they and we all like spoke out and talked our shit, because it didn't feel like, oh, this one small corner of the population is talking shit about how stupid and ridiculous this is.
A mass conversation. Also, like, fuck a seat on a spaceship. I can't afford eggs. Like,
nigga.
Easter's looking real different this year.
Niggas can't afford eggs. Niggas can't afford.
I mean,
I didn't even think about it.
The message was very much like, read the room.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like,
are y'all kidding me right now?
You all are showing how out of touch white supremacy can make people. You all are showing how out of touch, how delusional billionaires are. You all are, and let's be clear, showing how out of touch and disconnected America is, because there has to be a global perspective on this that's like, wait, the Americans did what?
Right.
Who? What?
Like, our country is very clearly and obviously in shambles.
Totally.
Like, even if you're like pro the MAGA agenda and you think, billionaires got it figured out. Like, objectively, there's a bit of a shit show happening right now. And to be like, I know what's the best thing to do.
Right.
Not even do it, but don't expect people to be like, oh, wow, this is so cool. Huh?
And the wildest thing that I experienced out of this whole space situation is hearing Gayle King basically be like, oh, space is a solution for all the waste that we have here on Earth. And I'm just like,
what?
There's no way in hell did you just say that out loud with the CBS morning whatever logo in the background. Like, you said that, like, I cringed a cringe that I will never forget, because
this is so weird.
It was so, like, it was just a very clear representation of, like, disconnect from everyday regular people and, like, millionaires, billionaires, people who are drunk off of white supremacy
and
their own power trip. Because again, that's essentially what white supremacy is. It's a total power trip where you don't even hear what you're saying. You're literally saying that, like, hey guys, don't be mad that we went out in space. We're trying to figure out ways to throw shit from Earth into space.
As if we haven't already fucked up the whole oh my God, like, atmospheric situation.
Literally,
we're gonna throw trash up there. And
on top of that, let's remember that Mother Nature and Earth itself,
right,
is also experiencing the white supremacy, the toxicity of white supremacy,
100%.
The toxicity of these billionaires and their decisions that they're making. And, like, I think it's really putting me in the perspective of this need and the reality of what we're also experiencing, which I feel like is almost like very Renaissance-ish. So, like, I feel like the response that people were giving after seeing this space launch, to me, I feel like there's this energy in the air from everyday people that's growing, an understanding from everyday people that's growing, that's like, we don't give a fuck about being a billionaire. We don't give a fuck about flying people to space.
Right.
If I can't figure
the new
out
frontier,
if I can't figure out how to pay for eggs on Easter, why the fuck do I care about?
Why am I hype about this?
Katy
That's not
Perry.
even aspirational.
It's literally not aspirational. And I feel like that's part of this renaissance that we're in. It's like we're having to reimagine a world where white supremacy isn't the answer, because that shit is not aspirational.
Yeah.
If white supremacy is your answer to any problem that is in front of you, it's not aspirational. It's not aspirational enough. It's not sustainable enough. That shit doesn't work for the community. It's not it.
Well, even like there's solutions, right? Like I love the point that you're making, that like what people are realizing is that we actually can't find the answers in the system, in the, not just the systems, but the ideas that have been told for us to be valuable. Like, for example, home ownership, right? Home ownership is supposed to be, you know, the quickest way to generate wealth in this country. Meh. You know what I mean? Like, yes, and that could still be true. And also, it's really hard to buy a house.
It's really hard to buy a house. It's really hard to
keep
sustain a house, maintain a house.
It's very expensive. The insurance, like, and we know this because we just went through the process.
Literally.
Like last year, like the way that insurance works or / it doesn't work, the way that the way that you have to have the savings and also have the debt to income ratio, the math that they're doing, the interest rates right now, like, it's really not accessible to people.
Yeah.
And so people are starting to realize that, like, this part of the dream can't be my dream anymore. One, because it's not actually a solution that you're saying that it is.
Right.
And two, there are other ways for me, like, maybe I don't even want this solution that you're offering, right? Like, I also hear you talking about, like, a class consciousness that's really a conversation that's happening right now. That's like, y'all billionaires, the super duper rich are wildin'. You're making some terrible choices.
Terrible choices.
At the expense of all of us.
And you mentioned the dream, and it's like, whose dream? Like, whose American dream? Whose dream are we talking about, and for who? And I think that's part of this rise in consciousness, this rise in the Renaissance, if you will.
Right.
It's this awakening, this rebirth, literally what Renaissance means in French. rebirth of like, no, this dream is not for us, so we actually need to edit this shit.
100%.
I need to figure out how this actually works for me, my niggas, my wife, my children, my
in
moms,
a sustainable way.
In a sustainable way.
And I do appreciate, though, like, not on some like black capitalist shit, but on some like, people are figuring out how to generate income, to create generational wealth, while also not totally succumbing to all of the like Kool-Aid of white supremacy, or like the indoctrination of the ideology.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like there's so many layers to what we're experiencing right now, where it feels one way, but then there's this reality of what it actually is. And, you know, it reminds me of what we're talking about right now, is also reminding me of like, you know, this Cory Booker filibuster world record breaking. There's a part of me that wants to be like, who gives a fuck?
Well, yeah, but also like yeah, it's only a record. Yeah, go ahead.
Who gives a fuck that like, okay, I get it. I'm going to do something for 24 plus hours to block something from happening. And not only am I going to block this thing from happening, there's also a moment that's being created. And we could write about this moment. We could talk about this moment. We could learn about this moment. A lot could happen from this moment if we are prepared for this moment.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Angela.
No, that's exactly.
No. Correct me if I'm wrong. Cory Booker did the block.
He didn't block anything, but he slowed things down.
He slowed things down because at the end of the day,
right,
what he tried to slow down ended up going through regardless.
Yes. Yeah, the budget bill that they ended up voting on passed.
The budget bill ended up passing. Chuck Schumer, which we were talking, that was a different
thing.
Okay.
Yes, Cory Booker's filibuster was after that, a different vote.
So to me, I feel like in that moment when he did the 25-hour, 20 however much record, you know, filibuster situation, it was like this moment where it kind of answered some of the calls that we were saying, which is like,
do something.
Why are the Democrats not doing shit? Why does it feel like they're not doing shit? Why does it feel like they're just sitting there? But like, after that moment, it was just kind of like, oh, well, this kind of didn't really do shit. Yeah. And then it brought me back to something else you said, really, which is like, even when the Democrats win, they still look like fucking losers. And it's just like, bro, like, there's this moment where I'm like, oh shit, did the Democrats win? Like, Angela, help me understand this. Did the Democrats win? And it's like, damn, like, we out here cheersing and all this shit. So I do feel like there's this reality of like, all right, how do we digest this moment, but also recognize that like this moment didn't do shit. And Cory Booker, you're out here fucking, I was about to say something so explicit. You out here.
Good catch.
Stroking.
Yes.
Israel. This fucking genocide.
Yeah.
So anything you actually do, who the fuck gives a fuck? Like who? Mark. It's a question mark because you already. It's not even a question mark.
I'm always looking at you with a side eye.
And I think that's the reality of where we're at today.
Yeah.
It's not even a question mark.
Yeah.
We know you a fuck nigga.
Yeah.
So it don't matter if you sit there for 30 hours, 48 hours.
If on that next
hour. It don't matter if you piss yourself to be like, oh yeah, I'm showing up for the cause.
Yeah.
If the next day you showing up to submit to a genocide.
I'm not, yeah. I agree that.
Help me catch the nuances in here.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch them myself, to be honest with you, because I'm
done protecting white supremacy.
Here's what I want to say. I don't think it's necessarily protect. It could be actually. Yes, that might be true. Protecting white supremacy. Here's what I do think. There was a moment where there was a lot of conversation about like political theater, and I think a lot of politics is political theater, and presentation and spectacle in some ways, and you know, you could also point to the whole billionaires to Mars or to space thing as theater, right? It's all a show to sort of like make a case for a particular body to hold power or particular like way of viewing the world or what's happening right now, right? And like, I think the thing with Cory, the thing that did matter about what Cory Booker was doing is that it did offer a type of narrative intervention. There was a bit of a story to it, whereas with Chuck Schumer and the whole budget thing that he was like, they're not going to negotiate with us, so we're just going to just move forward anyway so we don't shut down the government. So like that was an opportunity for political theater that could have got something. Could have. What Cory Booker was doing was just sort of interrupting the flow of business for a period of time in order to like make the case for something. And again, I think that like, you know, the bar might just be really way too low right now in terms of like what it was showing the fuck up looks like. And so that's why people gave him so much praise. And I think that the reason why that type of theater is necessary is because people do need something to be like, to rally around. You know what it's making me think about? It's making me think about a single good play in an overall game that we lost. Yeah. And it don't matter what sport we talking about. Yeah. Like we got to highlight we might have gotten, you know, top 5, top 10. Yeah, we're showing some. We're top 10 on Sports Center, highlight play, cool. But we got our butts kicked, but we still got our asses kicked. And to your point, that might be a little lightning bolt for to show that shit, we might got some spark of offense. We could da. But if that nigga's Cory Booker. Yeah, and it's terrible because it's like, how can we and also the people that need something to believe in are also the people that needed Kamala Harris and her campaign to say, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do something for the Palestinian people. Right. Like, those are the people, in order to turn out to vote, those are the same people that needed the, like, type of Cory Booker rah-rah, the rah-rah that could have come from that moment. But for him to then, to, like, continue to be an apologist for this genocide is like, damn, nah. And this is why we are in a renaissance, a reimagining of the world, reimagining of the world. Because the performative shit just can't be it anymore. And it's like, we could do some performances, we could do some theater, but let it lead to some real shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, let it be directed by real niggas. Yeah. And I think that's the reality of the global perspective, the global view of America right now. It's like, why the fuck are we watching this movie still? I think it could be on the left. I think that this American on some dream, of the right and the left. Yeah. This American dream shit is it's not it. Like, and let's be clear, the American dream is a dream that is filmed, produced, directed, written by white supremacy. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that we can't be dreaming. I'm not saying that we can't. I'm saying let's get these. We need to get this white supremacist perspective out of culture, out of politics, out of our everyday lives. And I feel like that's what's happening right now. I feel like some of the ingredients that is needed to fully bring an end to white supremacy is starting to be injected. It's not starting, it has always been injected. Yeah, I think it's starting to get ignited. It's getting ignited in a way that I feel like, while things feel very shitty right now, there's some hope, there's some light that I'm like, we actually need to hit the gas on this. We need to be fueling this. We need to fuel this renaissance. We need to fuel this reimagining of what is that dream. But the thing, yes, I agree. The thing that I'm not even struggling with, but I just think about a lot is like, I agree. The general sense that like you work hard, you buy like the American dream, right? Work hard, buy a home, raise your family. That shit's out the window. Yeah. It's been out the window. But like It was already out, mostly out the window for the Gen X. It's been out the window for millennials, and we know it.
For sure.
Gen Z, it now is like,
they're done.
Yeah, and so...
Got 13-year-olds just dropping knowledge. They're done.
But the thing is that you have people on one side, like maybe the masses agree the dream is not accessible anymore. Mm-hmm. You have people on one side that are like, well, it's not accessible because it got to more and people got, they're being told a story to believe that the reason it's not accessible is because too many people had access to it, the immigrants, the blacks, the trans, the queers. So let's get rid of them and then you will have access to it. Then there are those on the other side that are like, this was never accessible for us, whether you're poor white person, Muslim, black, whatever. Like, it was just, we knew it wasn't for us because we haven't seen it, but we're even more clear that we don't want to strive to even achieve it anymore.
Right.
Whereas this other side is like, oh, we can still get it if we exclude these other people. So the thing for some of us to figure out in some ways is like, how do we fill the story gap of what is possible that in a way that reaches people that are already like aware that the white supremacy shit ain't it, but also finds a way to reach people to say like, yo, you keep thinking that if you exclude some of us, that you're gonna get it, but that's just not gonna happen for you.
So here's why I really love this feeling of a renaissance that we're in, this rebirth. Because I feel like those same people that were telling this narrative of, well, you're not getting what you need because these immigrants are pulling up and taking what you need. There's the immigrants and those people that are opting into that narrative are having a realization of what they're actually watching and experiencing, which is why I'm like laughing my ass off when niggas from China are literally exposing luxury designers, and they're like, actually, let's y'all niggas want to talk about stories, you want to talk about the dream, you want to talk about the movie that we're watching, let's tell the real movie.
Here's the behind the scenes.
This bag that you just dropped 30 racks for, 100 racks for,
it cost $40 to make.
It cost me $40 to make this
all the time.
And guess what? They said this shit was made in France. They said this shit was made in Italy.
Not really.
It's actually not. It was made out here in Vietnam, my nigga. It was made out here in China, my nigga.
Have any of the brands had to like answer for that?
They're probably figuring out what their messaging is, because that's what white supremacy does.
That's crazy.
When white supremacy gets exposed, it scrambles. And the first thing it does is, we need to figure out what the messaging is.
But I haven't heard anything.
Because they probably weren't expecting niggas from China to expose the real story. And this is why I feel like we're in a renaissance and we're in a rebirth.
Yeah.
And this white supremacy shit is dying. America and white supremacy is Drake. I heard somebody say that America and white supremacy is Drake and China is Kendrick. Nah. The people...
We're Kendrick.
We're Kendrick.
Hell yeah.
The immigrants, they're Kendrick.
Hell yeah.
Nigga, we need y'all for this planet to function accordingly. But white supremacy keeps on getting in the way, and it's continuously trying to feed these fake false narratives, these fake identities, this fake power, and all of that. While they're trying to feed that, it's taking away from Earth. It's taking away from the people.
It's extractive.
It's extractive as fuck. It's Drake as fuck.
Yeah.
Extractive from the culture, extractive from the people, trying to...
What did Kendrick say? He said, you're not a colleague, you're a colonizer.
Colonizer. And I feel like...
Colonize the whole Earth.
And I think that's the realization of this moment that we're in. There's this awakening that white supremacy and the narratives that are fueled by white supremacy, it's big scam energy.
Huge.
It's losing global dominance. It's like, I can't even listen to Drake the same after Kendrick exposed him.
Of course, no, 100%. Even the songs I like, even the older songs that are my favorites.
Oh, Herbie, my cousin asked me. He's like, "Oh, Oh, you heard the new Drake album? I'm like, what?
Not actually. Who?
Drake dropped the album?
Yeah. But that's also how irrelevant we have to make white supremacy.
Yes.
Right? We have to put white supremacy in the category of like, oh yeah, because what Drake dropped that song is like a Nokia is what it's called. It's a little bop on the radio. I've heard it a few times. I'm sure there's a whole album, whatever. But the thing is that like we need to I'm laughing because I'm thinking about my friends who are Drake fans. I'm like, we still love you, but
I mean,
the irrelevancy, the point about being irrelevant is important. It's like you need to be less and less and less of a factor in our thinking, in our lives. The ideas, the things that white supremacy says are important need to be deprioritized. The things that white supremacy says are valuable or should be valued, first of all, it doesn't even know what its values is. They shift, they change all the time. So
it's fucking up the earth.
That's why you have to, delegitimize and be like, this thing doesn't matter. This is not you're like, oh, okay, sure, Drake put out an album. Oh, okay, like white supremacy is wilding on the news every damn day. We see it.
We should every day you should be the biggest Kendrick Lamar to white supremacy's Drake.
Amen.
You should wake up ready to hate that motherfucker.
Hate it. Destroy
hate you, and it's a valid hate. I'm going to not only expose you.
I can't even consider you. Sometimes.
I can't even consider you a real thing. We're calling this rebirth the collapse of white supremacy.
Okay, dig it.
We're taking down white supremacy. We're collapsing the white identity. We are getting rid of this shit.
I love collapsing the white identity because it's just so toxic.
It's killing the earth. So it's literally killing the earth. These niggas sent people to space for an 11-minute trip. They came back and part of their reasoning was saying, well, we're trying to figure out how to throw trash into the atmosphere. What are you talking? Abolishing white supremacy is not about revenge. Mm-mm. Abolishing white supremacy is not about taking over the stage because the stage ain't shit. Mm-mm. Abolishing white supremacy is about making life possible. Period. Because life is not possible and sustainable with white supremacy in the picture.
You dropping bars, ladies and gentlemen.
Exposing America and white supremacy, like, again, we need to wake up every day wanting to be the Kendrick Lamar to America's Drake. We should be excited about stomping this nigga.
Yeah.
What did you say to me the other day about the referee at Noir's basketball game? Oh, he was just trying to be our friend.
He was dying to be friends.
He was dying. He was dying to be friends with us. And what did I say? I was just enjoying the opportunity that I had to ignore him. Anytime I get to ignore white supremacy, I'm there front row like, I don't gotta listen to your shit. Especially if you're not talking about anything that's sustainable, anything that is of value, actual value. Not this fake shit that goes to this idea that I'm powerful, this idea that I'm...
It's fakery. But the identity of whiteness is like doing away with that is so important because... And I think people will hear that and be like, well, are you saying destroying white people? No. Fool.
No, fool.
I'm talking about the white identity. The identity, especially whiteness in America... Shall we tick through the characteristics? Like, you got a Karen. This is not white people. There are white people. And in fact, white people need to reclaim some of their better ancestors.
White people need to reclaim some of their better ancestors. Angela, that's a word. For the people that are listening to this and they're like, oh my gosh, they're trying to get rid of white people. No. It's not about getting rid of white people because some of y'all are cool as fuck.
Yeah. We're not trying to get rid of anybody. We're trying to get rid of this identity, this culture.
In fact, while we're cleaning up the bullshit that y'all's ancestors created, we will find a 5-minute slot on the agenda for you all to come
to the
in,
stage. Tell us about yours.
tell us about the ancestors that you want us to potentially invite to the cookout.
Sure.
Because we still got to examine shit. We still got to do research. Because every time we do research on whiteness, wild shit comes up.
Not looking great.
It is skeletons on skeletons and a hood on a hood on a hood of shit coming out of y'all's closets.
And they keep bringing these characters back. You got...
Oh, my God.
What's her name? I think her name is Christy Nome. Mm-hmm. She's a... basically former influencer, as far as I can tell. I think she was on the Trump campaign for some period of time as well. Mm-hmm. She's now the director of Homeland Security. What a joke.
Bruh.
What a joke. She's the director of Homeland Security, going around to the detention camps, the death camps, where they're sending folks that are being detained, deported without due process, without any regard for the law, in El Salvador and other places. She's going around on like ICE raids, like taking pictures and shit.
Oh, that's the woman.
Are you tick back a few ancestors ago? Those are the same people, the same type of energy that's at a lynching, taking home toes and fingers and pieces of hair
and dicks. Let's be very clear. People were taking home dicks.
That's not gonna do well.
No, literally though.
Yeah.
But like that was white supremacy's.
I'm mostly thinking about how we're gonna get that onto the internet.
Look, I'm here for the internet shenanigans, but also the people need to know the truth.
Fair.
Like lynching okay. Grabbing a toe and jarring it and putting it to your house, that was like, oh, okay, we made the playoffs. Grabbing an arm, a finger of a black person, oh, okay, we made the conference finals.
The ring is getting the
championship ring of a lynching was snipping off a black man's penis, taking this shit home and putting it on the fucking mantle. Like, look what I did. That's white supremacy, and that's the white supremacist history. Mm-hmm.
You are correct. You are not wrong about this, 100%. But the thing is that the characters, the aspects of white identity that they keep bringing up are evil. This is a disregard for humanity, and it's not something. It's something that, in many ways, you can inherit. So again, love for our white brethren, homies, and folks who are down with it, or are even just watching what's happening and being like, yikes. Take up space with the positive aspects of your history. Where are the freedom fighters? We know there were many, because those are the but those evil parts of white identity, that's what needs to be destroyed. And even the idea that many non-white people of color, black people have, that their proximity to whiteness will allow, that is an element of white identity that needs to die. Gotta get rid of it. Because like you said, there isn't life with white supremacy. We cannot be sustain life in a world where that's dominated by white supremacy. It's just not going to happen.
And I think it's okay if the feeling of abolishing white supremacy in your own everyday experience feels like shit, because that's what happens when you're going through positive transformation.
It's a detox.
It's not supposed to feel good. There's going to be a bit of resistance that's like, well, white supremacy, what you all are describing as white supremacy, is all I've known. And it's like,
I get it.
Same, nigga.
Same. Definitely been there.
Same.
Yeah.
That's me trying to raise two black beautiful baby girls in this toxic ass world using toxic ass white supremacy tactics that actually don't work for my free black liberated ass babies and my free black liberated life that I am choosing, that I want to live.
Yeah.
I am a nigga that is like, damn, I need to go into the gym and work this shit out. It doesn't feel good to go into the gym and work that shit out,
no,
but I know
always.
the end result is going to keep me on this planet a little bit longer.
Yeah.
It's more sustainable than crashing out on white supremacy. And like, I think that's part of what we really need to unpack when we are experiencing the toxicity of this current administration, Trump, Elon Musk, and all of the shit that they're causing, all the chaos that they're causing.
Yeah.
This is happening because we are amidst the rebirth of
something new.
Something new.
Another version of what it means to be a person who lives in the so-called United States. Another version of the American dream.
Another version
what is needing to be birthed.
We
is
are
birthing right now.
We are experiencing the collapse of white supremacy, the collapse of the white identity, the collapse of the fake ass Western American dream, and it needs to feel like chaos right now.
Yeah.
It's going to feel like chaos right now. But we need to recognize that that shit is happening because they recognize that the people are putting in work and the people are reimagining life without them. Literally, we got niggas in China like, hey, yo, fam, all right. I've actually been making mad money off of this, and all right.
Let me just give
that $30K bag is $18, fam. I sold it to them. I sold it to them. We're telling new stories. It's crazy to say we're telling new stories because these stories it's not new.
It's not new, but that's also a part of the rebirth. It's a reclamation, right? The Renaissance is also about a reclamation of old stories and old ways, things that we have known for a long time, and that's why I think that we're seeing more Black people be resisting in a way that's less in the streets and more in community, more like in conversation with each other about like, what do you got? What do I got? What do you need? How do we share? I'm trying to shift out of this institutional space because it's been steeped in white supremacy and made me stay steeped in white supremacy, and white supremacy is trying to kick me out anyway. So let me figure out these other opportunities and pivots. And it's good. It's not, I'm not saying that to say that it's like rah rah and like we're just like lighting incense and like eating really good and vibing. Like that. It's hard. It's really hard. It's very destabilizing. It requires a shedding of constantly. I remember the feelings that I had when one of my real moments of awakening around just the flaws of white supremacy and how indoctrinated I was when Mike Brown was murdered. That whole like end of the year, honestly, it was like from August to December. I just remember feeling like so sad and so heartbroken and so like disoriented and just like, are y'all serious? Like this is really not possible. And so it doesn't feel good, but it does all the time, but it does require that chaos that you're saying.
And like, think about it. When someone is crashing out, the shit is going to feel chaotic for the people who are not crashing out.
Fair.
We're going to look at that shit and be like,
whoa,
what's going on? Why are you crashing out right now? Like,
there's so many examples of the crash out right now.
There's so many examples of the crash. Like, and that's part of why I'm like, yo,
if you look at the news with the perspective of like, is this you're crashing out? You're like, oh, okay.
Look at the news with the perspective of white supremacy's crashing out right now because they are recognizing that their time is almost fucking up. Now come back and tell me what you think. Like, I had to think about that shit for myself, and like that's the beauty of what happens when you come out to the other side of white supremacy. You're actually more confident.
Yeah.
When you uproot the white supremacy that's within you that you've been taught, you come out of that shit more confident, clear, and more communal, more loving.
Yes.
I'm over here like, damn.
There's more. You can be more centered and grounded in yourself because you're like, well, Y'all are losing it. That
Y'all,
definitely feels crazy to me, but I'm not losing it.
And I need to remember that I'm not losing it.
Yeah.
Because to see you all burn books, to see you all ban books, to see you all go through great lengths to erase history, it's like, oh, y'all are really crashing the fuck out. Okay, go ahead and take these books out of history. We're in the middle of a fucking technological boom right now. I can look up history in a matter of seconds, digest it in a matter of seconds. But you want to burn books? Fam, you're crashing out. We are living in the renaissance that is the collapse of the white identity, the collapse of white supremacy.
Yeah.
Abolishing white supremacy is about making life possible.
I agree.
Exposing America, exposing Western white supremacy, being the Kendrick to the design of their Drake.
Yes. It's so good. And it also is it's the recipe that you need to do this on a day-to-day.
The day-to-day.
Because there's work for us to do as a collective, but that, and to like disrupt white supremacy on the institutional level, but that work really starts internally, right? Like when you are confronted with a, experience of white supremacy, whether it's someone, one of your coworkers trying to microaggress you, or someone at the grocery store, or someone in line at the airport talking about, oh, you need to get in the back, whatever. Approach it from a Kendrick to a Drake. Like, friend, please
Relax.
Like,
before
I destroy you.
I have to pop out and show you niggas.
I have to pop out and make you really hurt your feelings. Like, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I can appreciate whatever you got going on.
Something about I'm not trying to hurt your feelings just sparked this, me remembering the importance of creators in this moment, especially as we talk about the collapse of the white identity, the collapse of white supremacy. Because creators need to be creating all of the things that help bring this collapse forth.
Let's speed it up.
Let's expedite this shit.
100%.
Because the more people that we are awakening in this moment of like, yo, extract this white supremacist perspective from your brain, destroy that lens so you can see from a different perspective.
Take it off so you can see from a different perspective. The
faster we can actually save the planet, the faster we could actually pay for eggs.
Be sustained and be able to thrive. Like, this whole idea of a place where people can have opportunity for all. Like, opportunity, fuck out of here. Can we just have it? It's there. Can we just have our needs met? Why do I have to have a chance? Why do we have to create a system where everybody gets a chance to have their needs met? How about we just all get our needs met? That's the goal. Because
we're trying to get our needs met in the ignorance of white supremacy systems, and that shit is just it doesn't work. And it's like,
because white supremacy relies on some people not getting their needs met,
for sure,
but also some other group of people thinking that they have a chance, thinking that they have, they have to. It requires this capitalist white supremacist system requires us to believe that we can be on Jeff Bezos' rocket.
Literally, yeah.
When it's never gonna happen.
This white supremacist system needs you to believe that you need to work.
Jeff and Gail and Katy Perry are gonna help us figure out how to get all the trash into space, and then that will help us get on the rock, like get to their famous, super rich reality. And it's never going to happen, but it requires us to believe it. So we have to not just believe that, not just see it for what it is, but also like start to cultivate something different for ourselves.
Literally, like, and we need something else. Otherwise, you're going to keep thinking that you just have to work extra hard so that you could then buy this $30,000 bag
Yes.
so that you can then get this false sense of power, class status,
Proximity to the billionaire class.
to celebrities and the billionaire class. You need to work extra hard to buy this $30,000 bag, this $2,000 sneaker, when in fact it actually costs $18. And the nigga that made that shoe is the same person that white supremacy is telling you to not
hate.
give a fuck, to hate, to think that this person is actually taking from you. When in actuality, white supremacy is taking the product that these people are making, and upping the price by like 500, 1,000%.
It also makes me think
and getting you to shoot niggas and go crazy so that you could attain the shit.
The whole thing about the bags is also crazy because
I love it.
There's this mindset, right? Like there was like the soft life conversation, and like, if I want to get myself nice things, I'm going to treat myself and get nice things. Like, I love it. Treat yourself, obviously. But then it's like, is it a nice thing? Like, what makes it nice? What makes it nice? Does it make it like, what makes it luxurious? And like, is it that because it costs so much and they told you it was luxurious, even though it was actually only didn't cost that much, and is not that material is not that much different than the material that comes from another store that costs like, a quarter of what you're about to pay. Like, so I think that it really also, because some of these kind of, I don't want to say faux, like liberatory ideas, but they're a little bit like maybe shallow is a better way to say it. Because it's like, and I'm thinking about this specifically in the conversation that I've seen around some black women in luxury and like taking care of ourselves and prioritizing ourselves and treating ourselves type of thing. Like, I think prioritizing yourself is very different than like treating yourself, and that meaning getting a luxury bag or a luxury shoe or something like that. And I'm not trying to sound like a hater. I'm really just, I'm more so like
trying to put it into perspective.
Because there is this question of like, well, how much of a treat is it? Why is it a treat? Is it a treat because it actually is feeding your body, helping you heal, helping you be at peace in whatever way that means to you? And if it is, cool. If you like it, I love it. But, or is it treating yourself because the system that you have to subscribe to has told you that it's a treat? Right. But in actuality, you're just servicing the system that is actually extracting from you anyway.
And it's part of the reason why I love that exposure from China on the luxury brands, because I think it helps bring you to greater awareness on what does actually make you happy. Because sometimes we have to question, all right, do these Gucci loafers actually make me happy? And how much of it is the brand versus the design of the shoe? And I experience this a lot, where I get that designer shit, and then after a while I'm like, meh. Yo, you bought me a LV dumb bag, or LV. This is called a Louis Vuitton bum bag, which just so fucked up that this luxury brand is going to get a bag made and call it a bum bag. It's just such a mind fuck. The sickness of white supremacy, it's every day and it's all around us, and anything that we like, once you take that lens off, you see it everywhere. It's like, why the fuck are we calling this a bum bag and then marking it up for X amount of thousands of dollars? Correct. You got me that bum bag for like a Christmas gift, Christmas or Valentine's Day gift. Christmas. And at the time, I was so fucking happy.
You were. That made me really happy.
I
I'm not great at buying gifts, especially for you.
I shed a tear or two.
Definitely.
Because I was so happy.
On Christmas morning.
Literally like a child. Like, oh my God, you got me exactly what I wanted.
Which I loved it.
I loved that shit too. Good. I felt great. I was like, yo, Angela might be the one. But like there's
a kid in a business later, like already, child.
But there's this reality of like, all right, you get the bum bag, you get the Gucci loafers, and like, it's like, and then what?
Yeah.
And like, I truly do have these moments where I'm like, I don't even really like flashing that much. Mm-hmm. I don't really like, because you rock that bag and it's like, I don't even really care to be in
a labels guy.
Perception of a status.
Yeah.
I love a label if it's designed correctly and put in a particular way and it's attracting me visually, creatively. But like, there's this death of like the status via luxury brands that like there's this meaning of it all that I'm losing, and I'm like,
I think a lot of people are gonna go through that in the last couple of next, maybe even few months, because
we are amidst the Renaissance the collapse.
Can I say something also about the Renaissance too? Because I think that I just wanna. I keep reminding myself this, that like the way that they're one of the tactics of an authoritarian, takeover governmenting style, which is what Trump and Musk and the billionaires are doing right, and the Republicans are doing right now, is to like flood the zone and like just push everything forward. And it feels like everything is happening so fast. Part of that is because of social media and technology and the news cycle and all of that. And so, but I also just want to remind us that we get to benefit from that rush of the Renaissance can benefit from that expedited pace as well. So like the collapse feels really aggressive and really fast, but so could the rise. So could the bounce back.
For sure.
So like, I'm not saying in 2 years or 4 years, because I do think we're in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
But I do think that
anything can happen.
Anything can happen, and the change, just like people, it feels like whiplash going from 2020, where like the majority of people were like, hey, maybe we should be reckoning with the racial injustice of our past, to 2025. People like, well, I can excuse rape and racism and greed because I think the eggs are too expensive. Like that whiplash feels really, and it's okay to send immigrants to any to any country that they've never been to. Just wild. Like that whiplash feels really fast because it is fast in terms of its potential change in public perception. But that whiplash can happen back the other way too, just
for
as fast.
Sure. Just because white supremacy is crashing out and acting chaotic doesn't mean that, we can't come in and grapple that motherfucker to the ground or
be like, enough.
Calm the fuck down before I punch you in your shit and force you to calm the fuck down. Which, again, I feel like that's part of the reason why white supremacy is crashing out right now. Like, you're not going to act all crazy and wild and destructive to the government, destructive to all of these ideas that we have in place in America if you don't recognize that, like, your time is up.
You've lost.
Yeah.
You don't blow something up that you spent centuries building unless you realize that it's over for you.
What's that defense that teams play in basketball in the fourth quarter when like
man to man?
When they realize that it's like press defense?
Full
court press.
Yeah.
Literally, white supremacy is like, damn, it's the fourth quarter.
We're down by 5.
We're actually down. And we need to act chaotic as fuck. Start fouling niggas. Start. This is the moment where people in the game start getting technical fouls and start getting kicked out of the game.
Yeah, you're right.
Because they're like, you know what? Fuck it. We about to lose. Let's just act chaotic and wild.
But we're still going to win.
And I do want to acknowledge a couple episodes, we actually said the opposite. We said that we are in the fourth quarter and we are down.
We said game 6. You said we were game 6.
It was some variation of a basketball reference.
Which we love.
I do want to say that I think for myself, that might have been in the perspective of being a Democrat. And I feel like that's me really getting caught up in the bullshit of politics. Because at the end of the day, I don't have to wear any jersey to vote. I don't have to wear any jersey. I don't have to be a Republican or a Democrat to vote. I don't have to be a Democrat or a Republican to say that I want this to be a real thing in the world. Mm-hmm. To say that I don't enjoy this law. Mm-hmm. I want this law to look like this. Mm-hmm. And I think, there is this reality where I will say that I have read a lot and have digested a lot of information since that episode as well. Mm-hmm. And it really had to, it really just reminded me of like the power of unapologetic blackness, the power of dismantling white supremacy, defunding white supremacy, abolishing white supremacy, which is like, there's so much confidence to grasp after that. There's so much vegetation. There's so much land opportunity to grow on when you remove white supremacy from the equation. And I'm living in that. And I'm very excited about what's to come from this podcast and what's to come from us and our work in this current moment. And very reflective of part of the reason why I got emotional this morning. Melodies from heaven.
Yay.
Raining down on me. I just feel like, the more I dive deeper and deeper into history, into truth, into the realities of what's happening in this world, the more I remove white supremacy from my framework of living life, I just realize how much opportunity there is. And it's limitless. Limitless melodies from heaven.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Raining down on me. These melodies, too, can rain down on you.
If you subscribe to the N-Word podcast.
If you subscribe to the N-Word podcast. No.
Oh, that's funny. But you should subscribe if you're listening. We
Totally
love you.
subscribe.
And we're really grateful for that. I love the little accountability at the end because it's also multiple truths, right?
For sure.
The Democrats definitely are down game 6.
They are down as fuck.
We don't have to be, so they should be getting real creative.
For sure.
The good news is we don't have to be the Democrats.
We don't have to be the Democrats.
And
we could be the community.
there's a converse. Yeah, we can be, we are the people. And like you said,
we're Kendrick Lamar.
China isn't Kendrick. We are Kendrick. And we are our greatest fighter. Mm-hmm. And the opportunity is not just in fighting back white supremacy that's fighting white supremacy for itself. It's really about fighting for us and who and how we want to be with and for each other. Mm-hmm. That doesn't need to be Democrat. That doesn't need to be leftist, progressive. That can just be us.
Y'all, it's been a time. Please reach out to us via thisthesouth.com.
Yeah.
Please like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what it is.
Yeah, if you go to our website, you can send us a message. Let us know what you think.
Word.
You can also buy some of our apparel.
And I do want to say big shout out to the creative community that is, in fact, pouring into this renaissance, pouring into the collapse of white supremacy, pouring into the collapse of this white identity. Very appreciative of the work that you all are doing. At some point, I will wax poetic about all of you all. Definitely want to make sure I'm capturing all of my
your faves,
my inspirations, the people that I am coming across on the internet and then doing deeper dives with that are really inspiring me that, yo, take up fucking space, bro. You already know you know what the fuck is going on. And
Right.
like, we have the receipts, we have the experience. So yeah, shout out to all of you, and shout out to the people. Fuck white supremacy. We're living in the collapse of this white identity, and let's make sure we see the shit through.
Hell yeah.
The N-Word Podcast. Y'all, it's been real. Peace.